Good morning, Annie.
Good morning, Carrie.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi.
Today is Friday, January the 14th.
And this is Crumbs from the
Pop-Tarts.
Oh, it's so awesome. I just noticed that we're both wearing gray.
Oh, we
except
are.
I'm wearing my stunning red pants, so I brought some joy and glory to the grayness that we have around us.
Red pants, green socks.
Darn straight.
Absolutely. Stunning.
Yes.
Yes.
I have never dressed, like people, oh, it's so coordinated. It's usually coordinated to the point where it's like, whoa, what is that? See? Make a statement, be a statement.
That's right. You bring color and joy to everyone.
Do my best.
Yeah, I'm all kind of in grays
Yeah,
today.
what's up with that?
So, yeah. I
Even
know,
your
right?
mask is gray. Not cool.
Yeah.
You have to do something about that.
I
Bring
know.
it
But
back.
my nails are red.
Oh, jeez.
With little sparklies.
No. See, now I'm jealous. I got nothing.
Yeah.
I gotta do something.
Yeah,
about
like
that.
I had that put on and then I ended up with 2 funerals.
But like we talked about that.
I know, and but it's because it's old thinking, right? I mean, I remember we're going off on a tangent here for a second, but I remember were we at seminary, or maybe it was just one of the first gatherings of clergy after we'd been ordained, right? So, and I was talking to somebody who was also a newly ordained female priest who didn't wear trousers underneath her vestments. She wore a skirt because it offended one of her congregants that she would wear trousers, right? And yeah, exactly, right? And I'm like, well, I mean...
Okay, well, I understand that because when I first, if those watching ever knew about 53rd weekend, I got kidnapped to go to 53rd weekend because I was brought up in a very large church in Toronto. And it was very, very Gothic, very Victorian. And at 53rd weekend, I found out that bishops wear shorts.
Oh, Bishop Bob would come and do
Oh, no!
home visits, or like he would visit in where I was, Turkey Point. It was awesome. He had his shorts, his purple shirt, and his socks, and his sandals, and a stole. And I'm like, this is my kind of bishop.
See, and that just rocked my world.
I bet it did.
Because it was like, first of all, you're not wearing, you're wearing a clergy shirt, but you're wearing shorts.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
And no alb or any of those pieces, right?
No, it's just like, okay, and it's like, hi, I'm Bob. I'm hi, what?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness,
Yeah.
that just rocked my world. Actually, it was Bishop Morris Robinson.
Was it? Oh yeah, so
It
for
was.
me it was Bishop Bob doing that, and I loved it because I don't actually conform that well to what the ideas are of what people imagine clergy to be sometimes.
But I also know that, the first clergy conference I went to, I was so worried about making sure I stepped the right way. There's something about fulfilling the role and making sure you don't screw up, right?
And meet other people's definition.
Yeah.
But I think we're learning in the church today that, I often say, if you were down at the beach, not just now, but at the beach in your bathing suit and been swimming and realized, oop, it's 5 minutes to church time, come on up, grab your towel, maybe shake some of the sand off your feet, but come in. God never cares how we're dressed when we come to church.
No.
I grew up, you had to be dressed for church.
Yeah,
right?
me too.
And I even think I did that to my kids to a certain extent about, but it didn't last all that terribly long. By the time we had 4 kids, it was a free-for-all, right? You get them all out the door and you think, oh, did I even brush my own hair? God doesn't care how we get there. It's just that we get there.
Yeah.
Right? And sometimes we can't even do it by physically being there. It's just that we are engaged and we're, I just think of the disciples, how they were called. Right. And none of them looked the part of, at that time, what the leadership should look like, right? The Pharisees and the Sadducees and all of that.
The ragtag group that came along.
And I kind of like being part of the ragtag group.
Do you? Okay.
I do.
All right.
Even though I am fully coordinated
I know,
today.
she's looking collared and everything. Wow.
Official.
Well, let's do
Anyways.
some official stuff.
Okay, so you picked the readings
I
today.
did,
So you want to jump in?
because, the daily lectionary, and one of them was just a portion of Psalm 36, and it's talking about just who the Lord is and who they are to us. So it's Psalm 36, verses 5 to 10. Do you want me to read it, or do you want to read it?
Sure. Do you want to read it responsively?
Oh, we could read it responsively.
So you read to sort of the comma, and then I'll...
Okay,
Okay.
let's try. Your steadfast love, O Lord, extends to the heavens.
Your faithfulness to the clouds.
Your righteousness is like the mighty mountains.
Your judgments are like the great deep. You save humans and animals alike, O Lord.
How precious is your steadfast love, O God.
All people may take refuge in the shadow of your wings.
They feast on the abundance of your house.
And you give them drink from the river of your delights.
For with you is the fountain of life.
In your light we see light.
Oh, continue your steadfast love to those who know you.
And your salvation to the upright of heart. Oh, that's beautiful.
I know, doesn't
Isn't
it just seem
gorgeous?
like we've had snowstorms and we're still in COVID, and then we have this reading, and for some reason it just lightens the heart.
Oh.
I don't know.
I love that they feast on the abundance of your house, and you give them drink from the river of your delights. River of your delights. How welcoming, and just the abundance, the wealth of that is incredible.
Sounds like an old black and white movie, which is on in my household a whole lot. But just that wording, just that language. And I think that's something that is criticized of the Bible in times, is the language and how old school it is. But there's some beauty in that. And I think we were talking in Bible study this week about interpreting tongues and what does that mean. But for some reason, just interpreting that line for me is, the abundance of your house. Doesn't say what's in your house to make it abundant.
Right. Yeah. And your house, is that like your habitus? Is it your body? Is it
structure?
The structure? Is it the community? Is it like it just feels opulent.
Ooh, I like that. I've always wanted to be opulent. Not corpulent, opulent.
Yep.
There's a difference. But it does. I mean, I think we've been using the word abundance a lot this year. I've been using it as part of my vocabulary a little bit more. And is that again because we're recognizing what we're missing? Because there's a lack of stuff, right? Like a lack of getting together right now. You can't go to restaurants and eat, but you can still eat, but you just can't. So you're lacking something. So you're seeing, okay, so I'm lacking that, but where am I abundant in my life?
Yeah. And I think of many of the crises that we have as a people gone through. Now, for ourselves, the generation that we are, this is really the first big, huge, global piece.
Yeah.
But I think of my parents and my grandparents, right? And they went through the wars. My parents went through the bombings, right? In Britain. The one thing that they were able to do, though, was they came together for comfort. Right? They sought shelter together. They were in the subway, those sort of places, right? That's what we've not been able to do in this global crisis. We have not been able to come together. And I suspect, at least for myself, that's a great part of my own anxiety around it, is the sense that, we're called the body of Christ. Each one of us makes up the body of Christ. And when I think of the pieces and the cells and all of those pieces that make up a body, they're all crammed in pretty close to one another. And then millions and millions of them make this body. And yet I feel like almost as if the cells and the parts of this body are cast as wide and far as the universe, as we keep 6 feet between us, right? As we wear our masks, as we limit our time together. But that's caught up in that whole physicality of who we are.
But, okay, there's the community, and we are cast so far apart, but look how quickly we're all connected.
Oh, absolutely.
When it comes to this little thing, microscopic thing, that has literally joined us together.
Yes.
To show how connected we really are. And I mean, there's people now evaluating and writing papers on what the positiveness of COVID was. Yes, there is some, just so you know. But I mean, just to show how connected we really are.
Absolutely.
And how much we care for each other and have to care for each other going forward. And I think, we're still, our generation, the same. We never experienced something so traumatic or
not on a global level,
life altering. Life
Mm-hmm.
altering as we have. And I think that's what's kind of twisted our minds a little bit. And it's funny, I'm looking at some books and articles that were written pre-COVID, right? PC. And you kind of go, not anymore. And it's gone.
Absolutely.
Why even look at that?
Brand new structures are in place. We're building on totally new platforms.
Right.
And one of the things that I think that we have come to realize, and I hope we continue to realize and really come to some kind of understanding about it, is that whole question of who is my neighbor?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Who is my neighbor? Is it the neighbor that you can see next door? Is it the neighbor that is the one that you like? Is the neighbor the one that you can tolerate? Is the neighbor the one who goes through your garbage can in the dead of night because they don't have enough to eat, or sleeps in your car because you left it unlocked, or is in the doorstops? Like, I know we don't have huge homelessness issues here, but we have huge issues in our global family, in the sense that there are so many who haven't even got their first inoculations against this pandemic. And like, whether this virus mutates itself out of reproduction, I don't know. I'm not an expert in all of that, but I know that this has shone a very bright light on how what happens in one corner of our world will affect the whole world. And we don't have anywhere else to go. So how do we care for one another? How do we, feast on the abundance of your house, our house?
Yeah.
How do we do that? How do we drink from this river of your delights that seems to be so deep and endless? How do we share that? What's that wonderful meme that's out there? You know, if you have more, instead of building higher walls, build longer tables.
Yeah.
How do we do that?
Yeah.
Right? How do we put some real traction into that?
And part of it is just like the Psalm says, it's just the belief
Yeah.
that your steadfast love, O Lord, extends to the heavens, your faithfulness to the clouds.
Yeah.
It's everywhere. That we have to know that God's in charge of this.
Absolutely.
And it's going to happen in His, her time, not ours.
No.
We want chronological. We want it to end by next Tuesday at 2:00 in the afternoon. Not going to happen. It's the same way that we know that God's love is around us and will remain with us no matter what.
No matter what. That's
And
right.
we go through this stuff, but it's also God's love is opening our eyes to a way that maybe we can serve in a little bit of a different way. Even just a little tiny piece of spreading a little piece of joy.
Yeah.
I know somebody who watches our Pop-Tarts. She's an amazing young woman who has been writing individual cards to everybody in certain portions of the hospital in Owen Sound.
Oh.
Individual cards. And thank you for doing that, because it made such a difference at Christmas. There was an abundance of love, because every patient that stayed in over Christmas got a card.
Oh, how
Every
wonderful.
single patient.
Yeah.
So it was very, very cool to do that. That it's just that one small thing, and I think we think if we look at this big global picture and it's overwhelming and I can't do anything, you know what? Just writing that one little card to say, you're awesome, you got this, I'm thinking of you.
Well, it's like the late Desmond Tutu who said, do your little bit of good in your little corner of the world, right? And then I believe he also says that, and trust others to do the same, right? Because none of us are in charge of this, right? God is clearly in control, and we just need to give over and give ourselves up to God in this time. Good times, bad times, all of the times in between, and know that whatever is happening today will come to an end. And there is a promise, an absolute ironclad promise, right? that God will always be with us,
Mhm.
and that when even in this transitory life that we live,
Mhm.
God is with us.
Yeah.
But all of this ends, and we move into or continue into a life eternal,
Mhm.
where every tear is wiped
Wiped
away,
away.
where there is no pain, there is no division,
Mhm.
there is no suffering,
Mhm.
right? There is no hatred, there's no COVID. Wow. And we will be everything that God
Mhm.
intended us to be. And we're growing to that
Yeah.
every day.
Mhm.
We're growing, we're discerning, we're learning,
And some days it's harder than others.
and
I get that.
transforming. Absolutely. And when we have a day when,
It doesn't.
it
work
doesn't
out,
look so great,
No.
and it's messy and it's clumsy and it feels lacking,
The sun will go down. The sun will come up, and it's a new day.
absolutely,
There we are.
absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Like the baptism we heard of
Yeah.
last week,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Jesus' baptism, right? Things open up, it's a new beginning every day. Anyways, Annie,
Oh,
thank you.
it was awesome, as usual.
We look forward to seeing you on Sunday, of course,
Mhm.
online.
Yeah.
And look forward to the days when we can gather again in person.
Yep.
They are coming.
Yep.
It might take a little bit of time, but you know what? If it's really awful and cold and snowy, I'd much rather all of this happen now than when things are getting gorgeous, right, and warm, and we take our boots off, get back into our open-toed shoes. So until then, take care and God bless. Bye-bye.